Uvalde, Texas, May 24th, 2022, a day that shook the entire nation. 19 children, 2 teachers, a school shooting that no parent, no community should ever have to endure. Now, years later, the trial of the officer at the center of that tragedy is moving into its second week, and millions are watching, desperate for answers. Did he act? Did he fail? And can this trial finally reveal the truth about the chaos that left so many innocent lives in danger? In this video, we'll take you inside the courtroom, break down everything revealed so far, and explain what could happen in the coming days. The story is far from over. The questions are haunting, and the answers may be even harder to hear. Stay with us, because the Uvalde trial is just beginning. The Uvalde school shooting trial is tense, emotional, and filled with unanswered questions. Former Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Police Officer Adrian Gonzales is facing 29 counts of child abandonment or endangerment, one for each child in the classroom during the massacre at Robb Elementary School. Prosecutors argue he failed to act when every second mattered, ignoring training he swore to uphold. The defense insists he did what he could amid chaos, that he never saw the gunman outside the school, and that he assisted in evacuating students whenever possible. Week 1 of the trial offered a glimpse into the horror of that day. Jurors listened to frantic 911 calls from children and staff trapped in the classroom, their voices trembling with fear. Teachers described barricading doors, turning off lights, and keeping children as calm as possible while bullets rang out. One teacher told jurors she told her students she loved them, hoping it would be the last thing they heard. Graphic classroom photos were shown to the jury, accompanied by testimony from medical experts detailing the injuries that left an entire community in mourning. How could any human being remain composed in that situation? Could a first responder truly have done more? Prosecutors have been relentless, presenting evidence that places Gonzales near the shooter and highlighting 911 calls from the children inside the classroom begging for help. They argue these failures directly endangered lives that might have been saved. The defense countered, emphasizing that Gonzales acted within the limits of what he could see and do, assisting in evacuating children and calling for backup. They argue the chaos was unprecedented and that assigning blame is far more complicated than it seems. The courtroom drama also includes legal battles over testimony. The defense sought a mistrial when a teacher's description of the shooter was introduced unexpectedly, but the judge denied it and told jurors to disregard it. Every word, every piece of evidence is scrutinized, adding tension and uncertainty. As the trial enters its second week, crucial questions remain. Will expert witnesses explain what a properly trained officer should do in an active shooter situation? Will more family members share the heartbreak of losing their children? Will Gonzales take the stand? And if so, will his testimony clarify or deepen the doubts surrounding his actions? Each day brings a potential for revelations that could shift the entire case. One of the most controversial aspects of this trial is that it focuses almost entirely on Gonzales. More than 370 federal, state, and local officers arrived at Robb Elementary that day, yet it took over an hour for a tactical team to enter the classroom and stop the shooter. Only Gonzales and former school police chief Pete Arredondo face criminal charges, and Arredondo's trial has not begun. Families have expressed frustration, feeling that accountability has been too narrow, while the broader law enforcement response remains under-examined. Legal experts watching the trial warn that convicting a police officer for inaction is extremely rare. Precedent from other school shootings, like the 2018 Parkland case, shows how difficult it is to assign criminal culpability when officers face uncertainty and fear in chaotic, deadly situations. The defense has already signaled it will emphasize that uncertainty and the impossibility of perfect decision-making under fire. Inside the courtroom, emotions are raw. Families sit in the gallery, visibly shaken as evidence and testimonies replay the horrors of May 24th, 2022. For them, the trauma isn't distant. It's immediate, brought back into the room day after day. Jurors are ordinary citizens tasked with extraordinary responsibility, evaluating guilt or reasonable doubt for a man whose actions or inactions have been questioned by the entire nation. The second week of the trial promises more suspense and drama. Will prosecutors tie Gonzales' decisions to criminal accountability? Can the defense convince jurors that fear and confusion justifies actions? And when all evidence is considered, what does justice even look like in a case where no verdict can undo the loss of so many young lives? Every day in that courtroom is another piece of the puzzle, another glimpse into how fear, training, and split-second choices collide in life-or-death situations. The trial isn't just about Gonzales. It's about what society demands of those sworn to protect children, and what happens when those demands collide with human limitation. The story in Uvalde is far from over. With each witness, each testimony, and each moment in the courtroom, the nation waits, watching, hoping for clarity, accountability, and perhaps a sense of justice. The second week of the trial will bring new revelations, more heartbreak, and even tougher questions. The truth is still unfolding, and the story, still being written, continues to haunt a community and a country. As the courtroom drama continues, the central question remains: did a man fail his training, his duty, and the children who trusted him? Or was he a human caught in unimaginable chaos, trying to do what any person would in the face of terror? The answers may define not only the outcome of this trial, but the way America views law enforcement accountability in tragedies that no parent should ever have to face. Stay with us as we follow every day of Uvalde's school shooting trial, breaking down testimony, evidence, and legal strategy. Because in this case, the questions are as important as the answers, and the nation will not turn away until justice, in whatever form it takes, is served.